Ready, Matt?
Yeah.
Welcome to the South Jersey Soccer Cast, where we discuss the Union, MLS, the U.S. national teams, and more.
I am Matt.
And I'm his father, Jim. How are you all doing today? How have things been going, Matt?
Ups and downs, pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean, watching the U.S. pretty stressful.
well, the U.S. has been stressful. I would imagine if you were in Germany or Japan
Yeah,
or even Spain today,
yeah.
right?
In Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
hmm
Yeah, uh, crazy, crazy bunch of games.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, welcome to our special Men's World Cup coverage. We are here while the World Cup is going on. We are talking pretty much exclusively about the World Cup, but not completely, as we will get to when we get to the news. We're going to discuss how we think the tournament's going so far, how the U.S. are doing, at least as long as they stay in it. If you haven't watched the games, you might want to go watch before you get spoiled by what we're going to tell you. So, but first we have some pretty big news coming out of Italy. So apparently, Juventus, their board of directors and their president have all resigned. This is due to an investigation by the financial regulator. So Juventus, the club, is a publicly traded company, and they have been accused of what has been translated into English as, let me get this right, it is false accounting and market manipulation. So they basically are saying they've been lying and manipulating by the financial to better their standing in a regulated financial market. This is like, maybe it doesn't get to the level of what like Enron were doing or Theranos or any of these other big Wall Street implosions. But it is very much along those lines. The same kind of regulator. Yes, instead of the U.S. SEC, it's the Italian version. So it's it's pretty bad. I mean, false accounting basically means you've cooked the books. Market manipulation means you're pulling some shenanigans to keep your stock price up. That's not good. This is like, in the U.S., the SEC would, send some of these officers off to officers of the company off the club fed for a couple of years involuntary vacationing, that sort of thing. So it is not good. And this is going to reverberate across not just the world, not just Italy and their soccer league, but across the world. There's lots of international players playing at the World Cup that's their home club. This will affect all of UEFA. La Liga, the Spanish league, has complained to UEFA that, hey, this club has done some bad things and they're not following the financial fair play regulations. So there's all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, it's pretty ugly. So Matt, what are your thoughts on how this is going to shake out and how this is going to affect the current and future soccer world?
Well, when I first heard about it, it was more of how did Juventus mess up financial fair play, right?
Yeah.
Like Man City has some allegations of sponsors getting or they just don't exist, like they're kind of like shell companies just to pump money into the team so they can report bigger losses because they have more income from sponsorships. And I thought maybe something similar like that. But
Yeah.
since Juventus is a publicly traded company, this is a lot bigger than uh, a ban from any UEFA competitions, right?
Yes, absolutely. This could mean jail time, serious fines for the club, uh, jail time for officers. I don't know Italian law. I don't know U.S. law either. But I do read up a bit on it.
But you know even less about Italian
I
law.
know even less about Italian law. You probably know more about Italian law, having lived closer to it for a while over when you lived in Valencia.
Yeah.
Not that you ever went to Italy.
No. But yeah, it was really like, okay, how did Juve mess up financial fair play? Because
Right.
I know that's a big thing in Europe and UEFA, and especially with the proposed Super League that Juve were basically spearheading along with Real Madrid and Barcelona.
Right. That's where I thought this was going to start and end as well.
And my second thought was, oh God, Juve, what have you done it this time? Because a while ago there was another big scandal with Juventus, resulted in them getting relegated a couple tiers, and maybe I thought the team grew and stopped being especially shady, but not, and apparently not.
Yeah, this is serious allegations anyway.
Yes.
Whether or not the evidence is there to support that, it's a whole nother story. This is all real new, as in several days ago.
Yes.
Like I believe the news broke and they resigned Monday, which would have been what, the 27th
I believe so.
of November. Yeah. So it's
28th.
28th.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Because Wednesday was the 30th.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway,
Yeah, this is all. It's
it's
it's going to be a while because
it
this
is.
sort of thing is going to take a while to investigate and things.
And tying back to what we talk about, uh, this is going to have some serious implications for Weston McKennie, because if Juventus end up getting relegated, then you can say, well, now that there's going to be a fire sale on all those big names. The Serbian winger that they just brought in last season from Fiorentina, he's probably going to get sold. McKennie's probably going to get sold because they're going to be too big for Serie C, Serie B. These players should be playing at high end level teams. So maybe you're seeing any kind of potential serious repercussions again for Juventus. Maybe you're saying, well, now Juventus can't overcome that. They already overcame the allegations years, decades ago. Uh, and that took a while, and now Juve were top dogs for a while. Maybe the Italian law enforcement is gonna crack down harder and completely dissolve Juve. I have no idea. It's all speculation, but you could be looking at McKennie looking at a potential move outside of Italy, or
Yeah,
especially outside of Juve.
yeah. This they could totally blow up this whole team. It could be a major disaster for
Absolutely.
these players. Um, but then again, a fire sale, maybe they go somewhere good for cheap.
That that's what I'm hoping. Because honestly, we don't know yet. It's just a bunch of allegations. We know the whole board resigned except for the vice president, right?
Yes, the vice president was asked to stay.
Yeah.
I believe
Uh,
he also tried to resign, or at
yes.
least that was implied by what I was reading.
Yeah. But it has a lot of implications for how the landscape in Italy is going to be handled with this massive drop in an Italian giant in Juve getting some seriously harsh punishments. You could see Napoli rise to the top again, or both Milan clubs, even Roma going from a fringe European team into a Europa League, maybe even Champions League mainstay, along with Lazio. So it's. I'm gonna wait and see exactly what's gonna come of it, because as
Yes.
of right now, we don't know.
Yeah, I believe like because this is a serious criminal investigation, It may be years before all this is sorted. Oh, excuse me, I have hiccups. All this is sorted out.
Yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see what's going to come about it after the World Cup, because if Juve kind of get off, then nothing's really going to change. Or the Italian legal system can rush this through while Juve aren't playing any games and while the season's paused, and say, well, let's crack down now, give them the points deduction, or even dissolve the club. And now you have 19 teams in Serie A. I don't know. I just it, it's kind of a showcasing what soccer has become in Europe and even outside of Europe. It's not profitable. All these teams lose money and they want to stay competitive. And with the oil states uh, buying up teams like Man City, like Newcastle United, like Paris Saint-Germain, uh, then these historic giants like Juve, Real Madrid, Barcelona, they're struggling to compete
Right.
against those even English Premier League teams and PSG. You're going to be struggling, and they still want to win these competitions like the Champions League, the Europa League, or even the Conference League. And they're going to be cooking the books just to say that they're in the legal right.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know how else to say it. They're not running afoul of financial fair play.
Right. So they're probably cooking the books there.
Yeah.
Um, but would that get you in trouble with the regulators if your, aggregate financial reports were okay that went to the shareholders?
If you were, say, under reporting your losses,
Yeah, I believe they were. It was reported like $256 million last
yeah,
year or something like that.
yeah. Like if you were doing that, then yes, that would run you afoul of financial fair play and the financial regulators, because you are lying about how healthy your company is.
Yes.
And you're seeing another team in Barcelona who pulled all these financial levers with selling the naming rights to the stadium, to uh, TV rights, to merchandise sales, and all sorts of other things, just to be able to register new players for this season, let alone stay competitive.
Right.
So, and Barcelona is another publicly traded company, or they're at least publicly owned, maybe not traded, but uh, they're owned by the socios who have voting powers and have the board. So since Juve's on the hook for this, what's going to come from the other publicly owned or publicly traded teams that are
Yeah.
maybe going unpunished because UEFA isn't really strict on the financial fair play?
Yeah. Tell you what, we should do a show on salary caps and cost caps and does world soccer need them?
Yeah.
Maybe, please not as complicated as MLS stuff.
Well,
Those
well,
rules are pretty crazy.
I
Um, but like, well, of course, the people that are going to write these rules are going to make them all convoluted and stuff. But hopefully, like something that is workable.
yeah, I mean, they have a salary cap right now in UEFA with the financial fair play. It basically says you can't spend more than 70% of your team's income on salaries.
Right.
That isn't a hard cap like uh, the American leagues. Like the NFL, you can only spend certain X amount of dollars. Same with MLS.
Yes.
Uh, the financial fair play cap is tied to how much money you make.
Right. Now, I'm wondering if maybe they should just tie it to a number or how much the league makes or how big the TV contract is.
Yeah,
Something that like applies equally to every team.
yeah, but the counter argument is the top teams pull in more money than the bottom teams, Like people tune in to watch Real Madrid and Barcelona, not that much when they want to watch Malaga or Getafe or even Valencia, honestly, and Villarreal.
Yeah.
So there's an argument to be made that the bigger teams uh, have merit to spending more because they make the more money for the league.
Well, maybe it needs to be tied to something that is much more easily tracked, like
Yes.
gate and TV money and merchandise sales or something.
Yeah, but even gate receipts, then the teams with the bigger stadiums who can charge more because they're more popular teams and their tickets have more demand, they're going to be able to spend more. So their dominance is going to be solidified more, you know?
Well, they spend more now, so
They do.
so I
So,
don't. So maybe we can lessen that gap this way.
yeah.
Well, anyway,
And the all the income, all the gate receipts and TV income and player sales, that's all tied in to this financial fair play. So that's already in place.
yeah.
Putting it to a hard number, there's a lot of mixed feelings about that. Some people feel that it just puts money into owners' pockets because you're limiting available spending.
Yeah, we should do a whole show on it.
We could in the off season.
Yeah, when the off season runs up.
It's definitely a complex topic.
Yes, and you know something happening in a European league to a European team, even one as big as Juventus, usually we wouldn't mention, but this was big enough. I mean, this eclipsed World Cup news while the World
Yeah.
Cup was going on.
Yeah, it's that
It's
massive.
a big deal.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a mess. Let's see how it shakes out. Anyway, speaking of the World Cup, the tournament is happening.
Group stage
Um,
is almost done.
almost done. We have what 4 games left for the group stage at this point.
Yeah, one more day.
Yeah, one more day. Um, our last show we talked about who were favorites to win the World Cup. Let's see. We had Brazil, right?
Mhm.
They're through,
Yeah,
right? Spain.
they're through.
They played a match today. Um, I wrote my note last night that said they're probably going to go through.
They did.
They did. France was the first team through.
Hmm.
Argentina,
Through.
right? They're first place in Group C. Portugal,
Through.
they're through. And England, top the
They're
group.
also through.
Right. And most of these have topped their group.
Yes.
Not all
As
of them.
favorites should.
Yes. So far, the crowd has been right. We'll see how it turns out. When these knockout games start. All right. So let's go through the groups that are not Group B.
Okay.
So in Group A, we have the Netherlands and Senegal advancing.
Mhm.
Um, I was disappointed in Qatar. I thought they would at least put on a better fight, maybe get some points there at the end. Maybe not a win, but maybe a draw. But they crashed out hard.
Yeah. They really didn't seem up for it. They didn't seem like they really belonged in the tournament, unfortunately. Uh, I know that they played well in the the Asian Continental Cup, whatever it's called. Uh,
Yeah.
and they played well in the Gold Cup for CONCACAF, but they really just seem sad. And I really thought they could have at least gotten a draw out of Ecuador,
Yeah.
who was the second weakest team in that group, but unfortunately couldn't.
Yeah. All right, Group C. So Argentina and Poland get through.
Yes.
Mexico ends their long streak of advancing to the knockout rounds when they qualify for the tournament.
And
So,
getting knocked out of the round of 16.
yes. Well,
Just as long record, actually.
yes. Unfortunately, the round of 16 is very hard,
Yeah.
and it is a
Especially
big
for Mexico.
accomplishment to get to it. So,
Yes.
yeah, this ended that streak for them.
Mm-hmm.
So they are very disappointed.
Yeah.
And in search of a manager.
Yes. Saudi Arabia also eliminated. Thought they played really well. Lost 2-1 to Mexico, which really sunk their chances of advancing. Really, you had to at least win, or maybe not even win, but tie just to have a shot.
Yeah.
Because they beat Argentina. Fantastic game for them, right? They
Yes.
defended well. They kept that high line. They kept the discipline they needed. Argentina had like 3 or 4 disallowed goals because they were caught offside every single attack, and they won like 2-0. So
Okay.
they started off great. Couldn't do anything in the other 2 matches. Couldn't do enough. And it's unfortunate because they took down one of the giants in Argentina.
Yeah. Hey, that's a win.
It is a win.
I mean, that's a great result for anyone.
Yeah. They just don't have anything else to show for it.
Yeah.
You know? So it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, Poland and Mexico and Argentina were just better.
Yeah. Well, that will happen. There's 4 teams. One of them finishes 4th. So it's a shame. All right, Group D, France and Australia, both through.
Yes.
France was the first team to qualify.
Yes.
Basically because of the schedule. They were the first. They were the first ones.
They qualified with a game left to play, which is impressive because that's pretty hard to do.
Yes,
but they did.
And the diehard, or they Socceroo fans, and
yes, the Aussies
in Australia were up at 4 a.m. cheering their team on, and everything from the. I think we've only seen video from Melbourne, that one watch party in Melbourne, but they were nuts. They were crazy,
insane.
They were so happy and joyful.
Yeah,
good for them.
Yeah, man, I did not expect Australia to go through. I don't think anyone did, really.
No.
I mean, looking at that group, you're like, yeah, maybe Tunisia instead of Denmark, but it's mostly going to be Denmark. I know Denmark was getting to the final in my bracket. And I know that they were a dark horse candidate for the World Cup for a lot of people. So crashing out of the group stage with 1 point, poor showing from them.
Yeah. Well, that's why they play the games.
It is why they play the games. But man, you just needed to be better.
Yes.
And Tunisia won against France.
Yes.
The French B team. Maybe they shouldn't have some VAR controversy there, but they still won at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that result didn't change.
All right. Group E. This was earlier today. I believe it was the second set of matches, right?
Yes.
First set.
I believe it was the second.
Okay.
It's the group with Germany and Spain and all them, right?
Yeah. Japan and Spain are through. Costa Rica and Germany are getting on an airplane tomorrow.
Yes.
Heading home. Well, I don't know if they actually will leave tomorrow, but they're done. They have no more games.
Their tournament is over.
Yes. So yeah, that was basically Japan won the group. Spain and Germany tied at 4 points. Costa Rica had 3. So it was close.
It was close. But
but maybe it wasn't as close as it seems, or was it more close?
Well, the difference between second and third, while being tied on points, look at the goal differential.
That's true. There was a pretty big goal differential.
I mean, Germany really needed to beat Spain to advance, didn't. So then they relied on help against Japan, didn't get it, and were sent home because of it. And I
Yeah,
really thought that this Germany team, with Hansi Flick, who coached a fantastic Bayern Munich, would at least get out of the group stage. Because yes, I understand that Japan's not a pushover.
yes,
They're a good
they
team.
are
They
not.
beat the US
Mhm.
in a friendly leading up to the World Cup. So
And historically,
props to
they've
them.
not been a pushover either.
No, but they haven't been great.
No, but I mean, when you talk about great soccer national teams, there aren't that many.
No, but Germany is one of them.
Yes.
And that's the issue. You know, if you're talking about history, Germany is tied with second most amount of wins, tied with Italy. So uh, it's a disappointment. It's the first time in World Cup history that Germany has failed to make it past the group stage in back-to-back World Cups.
Wow.
So, and this includes going back to when West Germany was a nation.
Yeah.
So it's incredibly disappointing for the Germans. And I,
Probably more disappointing for the Italians who didn't even get to come play.
yes, of course,
Right. But still,
who failed
again,
back-to-back qualifications, I believe, because I don't think they qualified in 2018.
they may not have.
I don't think they did.
But again, the end of another streak, just like, not the same streak as Mexico, but another very long streak like Mexico.
Yes, yes,
Oh, hurts.
it does hurt. And watching the games earlier today, all sorts of chaos was happening. I believe all four teams at some point throughout the two matches, all four teams were qualified and making the round of 16, and all four teams were getting eliminated. So it
During the course
was,
of the game,
yeah,
the games, yeah.
it was incredibly dramatic. One point, Costa Rica was beating Germany, so then Spain was getting eliminated alongside Germany, and that would have been the biggest upset ever,
Oh
having
yeah.
Spain thrash Costa Rica 7-0, and then not even making it out of the group because Costa Rica qualified ahead of them.
Yes.
So,
That would have been that would have been something to talk about.
oh, absolutely. And unfortunately, you you someone had to go home. Two teams had to go because the all of the games were tense, and it was an incredibly tight group that was super unexpected.
Yeah.
Right? Japan topped the group and lost to Costa Rica. Germany was losing to Costa Rica, ended up beating them. Uh, Spain tied Germany, lost to Japan, demolished Costa Rica. So it's
And nearly didn't get out of that group.
yeah, nearly didn't. Uh, so it was fantastic to watch. Crushing disappointment for the Germans. And honestly, the Costa Ricans, because you had that game, you were
Yes.
winning,
They were winning.
and you gave it up real quick.
Yeah. Gotta hurt.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Group F. Canada's heading home. They were eliminated early. I believe they were eliminated after losing their first two matches.
Yes.
And there was no way they could sneak in for the third match earlier today. Croatia managed to draw with Belgium.
Yeah.
Croatia goes through. Belgium goes home. There goes my bracket. Thank you very much. And Morocco.
Mhm.
So yeah, let's go for it. Belgium needed to win, and then they got blanked.
Yeah.
And granted, they also kept a clean sheet, but though a 0-0 draw sends them home,
It did send him home.
or is sending them home at this point. Yes.
Yeah.
Or has sent them home. I don't know.
I think sent them home.
Sent them home. Well,
Yeah,
they're probably
'cause-
still there. It
Well, yeah,
feels
but their
weird to say that
tournament
they've
is
been sent
done.
home. Their tournament is done. Knocked them out of the tournament for sure.
Yeah. I don't really know what happened with Canada there.
Yeah.
Scored a Canadian scored 1 goal. Alfonso Davies is the joint top goal scorer along with own goal for Canada. So
Well, it's an improvement.
I guess.
Yeah, they. Yeah, they. I had higher hopes for Canada than that.
Yeah, it was a poor showing from the Canadians.
Which
I
is a shame.
understand tough draw.
Tough
Going
draw.
against Belgium, going to be hard. Going against Croatia, even going to be harder. Morocco. It didn't look all that lively.
Yeah.
And you were just bad against Croatia. And they crushed qualifying. So something happened. Something happened. They looked like they were good and failed to show it at at this tournament.
I had higher hopes for them.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure they were going to make it out of the group
No,
because
but
that was a brutal group, and I think they just matched up poorly. But
yeah, 0
wow,
points,
disappointing.
2 goals scored. 1 was an own goal. Yeah.
And then it's one of those things. Like if you're going to get knocked out, if you're going to lose 3 games in a row at the World Cup through the group stage, you want to at least be close in those games. And I don't think Canada ever felt like they had a shot at winning.
Oh, they absolutely did. I don't really know about the Moroccan game because I wasn't paying too much attention to that. But against Belgium, they were clearly the better team. But Belgium didn't concede.
Yeah.
They were poor in front of goal, and they were poor in front of goal against Morocco as well.
Which is why I think, what happened? Where did that?
Yeah.
You need to score goals to win these games.
I mean,
where did they go? Right. They needed to score goals for the qualifying and the lead and all the lead up stuff. And they had been.
Yes.
So where did that go?
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, if they had been scoring and they were losing 2-1, 3-2, right? That sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like they were seriously threatening Belgium in that game. They lost 1-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's bitter to swallow, but you just have to be better. You can talk about luck all you want, but it just at some point it's a skill issue.
Yeah.
Like actually skill issue.
Well, hopefully they get better.
Yeah.
All right. So the last 2 groups are tomorrow.
Yes.
I mean, like they probably start. They start tomorrow. Is it 18 hours? No.
I believe so. It starts at 10 in the morning.
10 in the morning. So that's 16 hours from right now, according to my watch. So we got Group G. I know Group H plays first. Group G, because I'm going in alphabetical order. Brazil is through.
Yes.
Everyone else has a chance.
Yes.
Switzerland is probably, I don't know. Are they gonna make it? Cameroon, maybe.
Cameroon, no. I think they're sunk.
Okay. All right. Because they're not playing Olivier Mombaizo. That's the entire reason why.
Yeah.
Would have been nice if I saw his name on the stat sheet somewhere.
Absolutely. Even in the lineups, like starting would have been great. Hopefully against Brazil, and he puts out a good showing.
Yeah, I don't think he's been substituted in even.
I don't think so either.
I looked. I didn't see. Anyway. and Serbia, right? So the
Yes.
other group.
Yes.
So yeah, any one of those three could be the third one, depending on how things shake out.
Yeah, but it's not going to be Cameroon.
It's
Let's
not
be
going to be
real.
good.
It's not
I mean,
Cameroon
right? Yes.
because you have to beat Brazil, who are going to be playing their B team. To be fair,
Yeah.
you're not going to beat Brazil's B team,
No.
and you need to beat Brazil and have the other game go your way. It's not looking
No.
likely.
It's not. It's not likely. I think they're at the bottom with 1 point.
Yeah,
I think it's like 6-3-3-1 or something like that at
yeah.
this point.
I thought it was a six. Uh,
Well, it can't
yeah,
be three three
three
one.
three one. No, couldn't it?
No, because how do you get 1 point if someone else doesn't tie?
It might be 6-4-3-1.
It could be. Yeah, it's got to be 6-4-3-1.
Yeah, and I believe Cameroon won a game, and I think Serbia is sitting at one. So it's looking like whoever wins that game between Serbia and Switzerland, they're
Yeah,
going through.
they're yeah
So yeah, it is 6-3-1-1 actually.
6-3-1. I knew it was something.
Yes, yes. So Cameroon needs to beat Brazil and have Switzerland and Serbia draw, and Cameroon is going to beat Brazil because
They
they'd
have to
be
beat
ahead
Brazil.
on
Eh,
goals for.
right. They have to beat Brazil, and they still might not get through if they do.
Yes.
Yeah. Group H is a very similar situation. If you look at the points and the goal differentials and who's playing which team, like one is playing three and two is playing four.
Yeah.
But that's Portugal has gone through,
Yes.
and Ghana, South Korea, and Uruguay
Yes.
are the three duking it out for that last spot. So it's a very similar situation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's so who's getting through? Who's
Uh,
going through with Portugal? You don't know.
if I had to say, I'd say Ghana at this point because I don't think South Korea is going to beat Portugal,
Okay.
and Uruguay has had some serious problems this tournament. They have some locker room issues right now. Players don't like the coach's tactics. So,
Yeah, the results have been disappointing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that all shakes out tomorrow. Let's go. Let's move on and back to Group B.
Yes.
So, Group B. My notes say England cruised through. They didn't have much of a hiccup except for the fact that they were shut out against the U.S., but they managed to keep the U.S. off the scoreboard, so that was a draw, and they finished with 7 points.
Yes.
So they cruised through.
Scored 9 goals in the other two games.
9 goals in the other two games.
I would
Yes.
say so, yeah.
Yes.
Conceded twice in the other two games, but
Yes. Iran had a shot. Could have been. They needed to draw their final game against the U.S. They lost 1-0. So that was tough. So they are not good. The players looked totally devastated there at the end.
mm-hmm.
While watching that. And Wales kind of floundered.
Yeah,
Like their high point was the second half of their match against the US on opening day.
Yeah.
Or not opening day, second day. Their first match. And
I
it
knew
was
what you
only
meant. Their opening day.
their opening. But it was only the second half of that game.
Yeah, they really didn't look all that good outside of that. Losing 2-0 to Iran hurts a lot. especially when you want to advance. You took a draw against the US, that's okay.
Yeah.
Losing against Iran pretty much sunk them because they needed to beat England by quite a bit to advance.
And were without their number one goalkeeper because of the red card from the Iran game.
Yes.
So yeah, that was an impossible task, pretty much. So they were done. But they again, their highlight was they had a good half out of the 3 games.
Mhm.
So that was rough.
Yeah. It was always going to be a tough group, no matter what. I
Yeah.
believe it was the highest average coefficient for all the groups. I believe so. So, yeah, losing to the more beatable teams or even drawing the more beatable teams pretty much sinks you in that group.
Yeah.
And both Iran and Wales did that. Iran lost to the US and Wales lost to Iran.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you kind of needed to beat both of them.
Yes. And then the US with it before we get into all 3 of the games, the US it was ugly. But they're through.
Yeah.
They got 5 points. They did not lose.
No,
They gave up 1 goal,
they
only scored 2,
kept 2 clean sheets.
kept 2 clean kept 2 clean
uh,
sheets. Yeah.
Ceded 0 non-penalty goals, which is impressive.
Yes.
But Wales only scored the 1,
Yeah.
so keeping Wales silent otherwise isn't all that impressive. Iran scored 4 goals, 2 against England and 2 against Wales. Keeping Iran silent was pretty good. Keeping England silent
Was
was
huge.
impressive.
Yes. Yeah, they needed that.
Yes.
They really needed that. I think they needed that not just from a standings and points state, but from a, a motivation state. Because I think if
Morale
they ended
state.
up morale, I think if they ended up losing that, they probably phone in the second half to Iran and lose. Because
Yeah.
they're not getting through, right? At that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the US versus Wales game, that was first.
Mhm.
The first half, I was real happy.
Yes.
The second half, I was pulling my non-existent hair out. I was reaching for it. It's not there anymore because it's gone. And I started mostly bald. It's worse. Yeah, that was bad.
It was horrible to see.
Yeah, I agree. It hurt a lot.
I mean, my thoughts on that game, uh you started out fantastic, and when Wales adjusted tactics by putting Kiefer Moore up top at striker, and Wales seemed more in control, either Berhalter didn't or couldn't adjust, and I don't really know what's worse.
The players on the field didn't adjust either,
No, but
but they hung on mostly.
Berhalter made no subs to counteract that either,
Yes. Yes.
or any tactical change to counteract that, and
Right.
it cost the U.S. because unfortunately Walker Zimmerman made
A pretty big blunder. Just let's put it that way.
yeah a horrible mistake, tackled Gareth Bale down in the box and gave up the penalty because of that.
Yeah.
Obvious penalty, pretty stonewall. So I can't complain about that. I can complain about Zimmerman making that tackle.
Yes.
It was obviously the wrong decision to do in the moment, still committed, and it cost the US the win. And instead of on 5 points, the US could be at 7
Yes.
and conceded nothing, which would have been huge, right?
Would have been very huge.
But
That conceding only that one goal is the only thing that gives me hope at this point.
yes. Yeah, I mean, I'll get into more of my thoughts about the US overall a little later, but
all right.
It was definitely a rough game. Pretty much a tale of two halves.
Second game, US England.
Yes.
What did you think?
I
wrote down we can hang with the big dogs after that game.
Yeah, that game kind of showed that the US definitely can go toe to toe with any of the major players at this tournament. Keeping England silent, completely controlling the midfield. I mean, England's midfield of Rice and Bellingham and whoever that third midfielder is that I can't name. Might have been Mount.
Okay.
But controlling England's midfield and keeping them pretty much ineffective until Jordan Henderson came on in the second half. That was seriously impressive for the US to do. Tyler Adams was immense. Just destroyed any kind of English attack as it was building up. And man, it was real good to see until the subs came in. And
yeah. Yeah. And yes. But, it was good. I mean,
it was good. Until it wasn't.
Yeah. But then the result, it was good at the end.
Yeah.
Keeping that team off the scoreboard was good.
Yeah. The only issues I had with that game was it showed two things. It showed that the US can keep the powerhouses silent because England scored 9 other goals, 6 past Iran and 3 past Wales. So keeping them to 0 was great.
Yes.
It also showed that the US can't create against these big teams because the US had a few good chances and
it didn't finish.
40 minutes into the game, they created nothing. They did nothing.
Yeah.
So, and couldn't have a second point of attack. It was always just crossing balls into the box, and Harry Maguire would just clear it. If not him, it was John Stones, who are great center backs. And when you see that isn't working for 30, 40 minutes and you don't do anything to change it.
Come on, Greg. You can do this.
Yeah. Start doing other things.
Yes.
But no.
I mean, the same theme happened when in the third game when they played Iran.
Mm-hmm.
They had a lot of pressure early, and it was right. Iran had a burst, and then after that, it was just the U.S. just had a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
pressure that was relentless. But man, they couldn't shoot.
No,
they couldn't get a shot on target.
No,
it was crazy.
They got one goal and then kind of gave up.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say gave up because one of the last plays at the half was Weah's disallowed goal. He was offside. But
yeah,
in the second half, nothing really.
Yeah, they were flat in the second half again.
And it almost cost them again.
And when Iran got desperate to draw, it was scary.
Yeah.
And it was ugly.
Yeah.
I wrote that overall it was an ugly mess, but effective, and not in an energy drink soccer way that things get ugly.
Yeah.
It was just, God, how do they survive this?
It's not attractive. It's not good looking. It's not comfortable. It's not beautiful. It's effective though. It
Yeah,
gets you the results.
and it's not like they drag another team to play ugly and just wear them out doing it.
No,
They
because
just
they're the ones that play ugly, and the other team plays well but can't finish.
yes. And I don't know. They need to find more goals.
Yeah,
They need to find more goals.
they're not scoring enough.
They scored twice over 3 games.
Yeah,
That's not
because
enough.
if a team scores one, I don't know if they can handle that. I don't know if they can cope.
No, I don't know either.
And you're not going to keep every single team silent in this competition.
Right. You're going to run into somebody. You're going to make a mistake somewhere.
Yeah. And they did.
Or you're
and
just going to
it
run
cost
into
them.
somebody that's better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And they made the mistake in the Wales game, and it cost them the win because they couldn't score again. So,
yeah. I mean, we've pretty much covered all my points that I wanted to make for the overall stuff. I mean, we kind of did that
yeah.
early. I brought it up. So what else you got? How bad or how good or how ugly?
Well, Berhalter subs have been middling to say the least. I don't know how you can watch the England game when you subbed on Shaq Moore and then watch the Iran game with Serginho Dest being fantastic. I get he's tired. I get that. You have Yedlin on the bench. He came in Wales and he was fine. Shaq Moore came in against England, wasn't fine. And then you're up 1-0 against Iran, and you know you're defending hard because you know Iran's getting desperate to equalize to go through.
Yeah.
And you put on Shaq Moore, who showed again he wasn't good.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, his teammate Walker Zimmerman also showed that he wasn't good in the first 2 games.
Right.
Showed that he was in the Iran game. Had a few good defensive moments. The one in particular, clearing the ball after it got past Matt Turner, I can't give him too much credit for because he kept that entire play onside. If he was in line with the rest of the defense, it wouldn't have even gotten to that point. But he still didn't. He made up for it, so I can't give him too much credit because he made the mistake in the first place.
Right. And he made the mistake in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
And
his passing has been
not good.
bad to say. He just passes the ball to the opposition and puts the defense immediately under pressure. And for as good as Tyler Adams has been, and for as good as Tim Ream has been, you know someone's going to eventually score off of it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Zimmerman made that dumb tackle in the box in the Wales game, and it cost them.
Yeah.
But
so what I'm hearing is he should be not a starter.
I don't think Zimmerman should start. And if he does, change the way that you have your center backs play.
Okay.
Ream's been fantastic. One of the best center backs in the competition, in my opinion. Like right up there with the Croatian guy. Can't think of his name. It'll come back to me. But Tim Ream has been phenomenal. Great in the air, great defensively. His passing has been on point. Zimmerman's like that, except for his passing, and it puts the U.S. under pressure immediately when he gives the ball away.
Okay.
And I don't think Shaq Moore should see the field again this tournament. I think he should be benched permanently. As unfortunate as that is, because these players want to play.
Yes. I mean,
but Yedlin has shown more in the minutes he's gotten.
When you're not up to par, when
Yeah.
you're not clearing the bar, right? You're
Yeah.
not where the team needs you. Yeah, I think you have to. I think you'd rather win games than be on the pitch. I mean, obviously, being on the pitch will help you get through your slump, but
Mhm.
this is a tournament. It's win or go home at this point.
Yeah.
So I think you'd rather win.
Yes.
Um, Unfortunately, there's also some injury concerns for the U.S. going forward.
Yeah. And some continuing injury concerns. Reina uh has some kind of injury concerns. He says he's 100%. Berhalter is being cautious with him. He's only played 8 minutes in the group stage.
Right.
I also disagree with that. I think he should have played more. I would have subbed him on for Weah because Weah was pretty poor in Iran in the Iranian game. But I understand Berhalter being cautious with him. Pulisic is injured right now. Put his body on the line in that game. Got himself injured in the process.
But he got the goal.
He got the
So,
goal, man.
at some point, that's what he wanted the goal more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And Sargent,
Sargent's also injured.
that freak jumped over a guy, stepped on the ball,
Mm.
probably messed up his ankle.
Did mess up his ankle. Yeah, saw an
Yes.
injury report earlier today. Both of them are day to day. Pulisic has a pelvis injury. He got a bruise on his pelvis. And Sargent has a bruise, I believe. It's not a sprain for his ankle, which
Oh,
is good, but it's
that's amazing considering what the way he landed on the ball like that.
yes. But it is a ankle injury for Sargent, who's been good, just not scoring like
Right.
the rest of the US and the rest of the US forwards.
Yeah. So they play again when?
Saturday, 10 in the
Saturday?
morning against the Netherlands.
So this is what, December 3rd? They play?
Yes.
Okay. So there's no week off, but I guess
It's
they've
one
had
day. It is one day.
Yeah. But then again, they are also teams from the A and the B group which played a while ago.
Yeah.
So they've
played
had some
Tuesday.
Time. Yeah. So they've had time. It's not
Yeah.
like, they're playing a G or H group team,
No.
which will be playing tomorrow.
Yeah. And only
And
would
then
have
Saturday.
one day rest. Yeah.
Yeah. Not even a day. Because you're
No,
playing
not even a day. You're right.
right. There's no day in between.
No.
Yeah, so that would have been rough. So
No.
that makes some sense. They need to get this tournament done.
Mhm.
It is December already.
Yes.
All right. Is there anything else you want to say about Greg Berhalter, the team, Brendan Aronson?
For as big of a critic of Greg Berhalter as I am, and for as much as I hate his decisions that he's made, I can't take away from the results he's getting.
They advanced.
Yeah.
And they didn't lose.
No.
And they scored 5 points.
Yes.
Which is more than I thought they would get. I was thinking they would probably get 4.
I thought they would get 3. But if not 4.
Yeah.
But he's won the Nations League. He won the Gold Cup. He's beaten Mexico. He finished 3rd in qualifying, which was good enough. Not comfortable, but good enough. And he made it past the group stage in this World Cup. So
success.
For every game that I've looked and watched, and I'm like, oh my God, I hate this team. I hate what Greg's doing.
But the results are there.
The results are there. So it's really hard to completely criticize everything he does. Because at the end of the day, he wins. He just wins.
Yeah. Or ties when he has to.
Yeah. Wins enough.
Wins enough. Yeah.
So looking at the Netherlands team, moving into the match preview. The Netherlands never really seemed all that good. Never seemed completely dominant. Didn't seem to be this unstoppable force that England was presented to be. So this is a very winnable game for the U.S.
Yeah.
So
I think so. I think they got a chance, especially if they can keep keep the other team off the scoreboard. You can win.
you
Doesn't matter
can
who it is.
if you score.
If you score.
Because once you get into extra time and penalties, then who knows what happens, right?
Yeah. Let's flip some coins.
It's not a coin
It's not
flip,
quite that
but
bad, right? Yes.
yeah, it's pretty much all I got.
All right. Well, then let's wrap this up. Tune in next week for more World Cup coverage. Thanks for watching and listening to the South Jersey Soccer Cast. If you are on YouTube, please leave some comments to let us know how we are doing, and then like and subscribe to get notified when we upload next week's episode. See you then.